For a final interview of the program, The Hill's healthcare reporter Joseph Choi sat down yesterday with Democratic Congressman Don Davis of North Carolina, the co-chair of the Congressional Tobacco Harm Reduction Caucus. Take a listen.
Hi, Congressman. So today we've heard from several doctors and PhDs today about this topic of tobacco and harm reduction, but none of them have actually worked in a tobacco field like you have early on in your life. Can you tell us about your experience in that and how that informs your job as well as being co-chair of the Tobacco Harm Reduction Caucus?
Growing up in Eastern North Carolina, cropping tobacco was just a way of life. We didn't think anything of it. We woke up early in the mornings, got on then on the back of a truck, pickup truck, and we head out to the tobacco field. But it was very much a part of our heritage. Not only that, it helped us to make ends meet to help the family, and it was something that most of the young people around the community around Eastern North Carolina participated in and did. And, to this day, I still believe taught me so much about hard work. But more importantly, to go from the tobacco field of Eastern North Carolina to the halls of Congress, and now to be able to engage. The first congressional district of Eastern North Carolina has the largest tobacco census. We have more tobacco proportionally than any other congressional district. And it's something, therefore, that I take pride in. And more importantly, realize the responsibility that we have to engage in policy, these discussions that are important not only to the people of East North Carolina, but people across the nation.
As you mentioned, it provided a way of life for the people in your district, in your state. How do you balance the priorities of harm reduction along with the economic realities of a state like North Carolina?
When we think about the balance, we have to start by understanding. I don't know that there's necessarily a competition here, so to speak, and I believe you can strive to increase health outcomes as well as embrace the economic impact. And for instance, as we have seen the shift with our economy in Eastern North Carolina, we are one of the more economically distressed areas, not only in the state of North Carolina, but the country. So we have to continue to make sure our doors are open for business, that farms can continue to operate. At the same time, we have one of the most health disparity, some of the highest health disparities in the state and in the nation. So we also have to give attention to healthcare outcomes. And I believe we have really worked hard to do both. But not only that, I believe when you are able to look at a transition that we could make in the economy, I think it's imperative that we look at alternatives. And I believe smokeless products become an alternative, especially as we can continue to expedite the process and see more of that done right here in America.
And as we mentioned earlier, you are a co-founder of the Tobacco Harm Reduction Caucus. You co-founded alongside Representative Guy Reschenthaler. Can you tell us about what the caucus's aims are and what uh, it's currently done in the past year? It was founded in 2024. Can you tell us more about your caucus?
Absolutely. The caucus is growing. We are about 16 members now, and I'm honored to be co-chair. We're looking at ways to continue to promote smokeless products, moving towards reducing harm that comes from tobacco, and doing everything we can to continue to strike this balance, so to speak. And I'm extremely pleased to be a part of this caucus and all of the great work that we're already doing.
Do you feel like your colleagues in Congress are catching on to this, uh, the aim of your caucus?
I believe there's a lot of work that's involved, and we have to continue to keep up the good work. And as we continue that work, we will continue to expand that level of awareness. But hey, there's still a lot of work that we must do that's ahead of us here.
Now, in recent months, uh, there have been layoffs at offices in the CDC and the FDA, essentially gutting offices dedicated to tobacco harm reduction or reducing the uptake. What role do you see agencies having, and what do you make of these staffing reductions?
What I think is most important here, we have to stay focused, keep our eyes on the prize, and that focus is how do we continue to streamline the process? We have to get to products that can be helpful. We have to make sure that we're taking every step to guard against counterfeit products that are out there that can be very dangerous and get to a place where we're able to not only provide smokeless products here in America, but realizing too that that's going to help strengthen our economy. That's the key here. That's the part of this whole conversation. And I know that, especially in places like Eastern North Carolina, rural America, it'll make a difference, a huge difference.
What policies would you like to see, really championed at the federal level when it comes to, priorities of your caucus? You mentioned uh, combating counterfeits. We know that a lot of products are coming in from overseas that are geared towards young people. What policies are you looking at specifically?
Yeah, we have to continue to take a strong stance against counterfeits. We have to look at efforts to streamline processes. We have to continue to educate the public, not just the members, but the general public. We have to, in my opinion, to take steps that are going to help us further understand. For instance, when we look at the disproportionate level of smoking that's taking place in our ranks in our military, as an Air Force veteran, um, it's so important to me that we're taking the steps to understand what's taking place within the ranks with my military families. That's why we're leading the effort, a pilot program to get out there to study, to see how we can better integrate smokeless products and just help our military families. And as we learn, we're able to grow from all of this. So there's a multitude of steps that should be taken that I believe we have an obligation to take here on behalf of the American people.
And when we talk about smokeless products, is it your hope that promoting smokeless products is a step towards cessation of tobacco use?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And you also touched on, you're a veteran. We know that tobacco use, the harms disproportionately impact veterans, communities of color. Can you touch on your concerns surrounding that disproportionate impact we see?
Obviously, we have those members who are waking up every single day and putting on their uniforms, going to work for our country. But again, when you look, we have about 20 million Americans who are still smoking. We have within the ranks 1 in 4 disproportionately. There's a much higher impact that's taking place. I believe we need to take the steps to understand what's going on there, and at the end of the day, this is about preserving our national security and making sure that those who are putting on the uniform every single day, not only that they serve our country, but even after their service, that they're able to go on and live healthy lives with their family members in life after their military service. So this is important to me. We owe it to those who are out there every single day fighting for our country to fight for them to still be able to have access and a pathway towards a healthy life.
Have you coordinated or spoke with the tobacco industry as you're looking towards advancing harm reduction from tobacco use? And if so, what have the conversations been like with them?
I put it this way, there are ongoing conversations. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with the industry, but I can definitely tell you that we're engaged knee deep in this work. That's why it is important for us to be here. That's why it is important for us to come together in the room, have these conversations, sometimes tough conversations, so that we can walk out stronger. And when we walk out stronger, we're going to walk out in a way in which we're able to address better health outcomes as well as wellness outcomes. It's not just physical health, but it's economic wellness that is also very much a part of this conversation. And to me, that's what's been most important in this discourse.
Have you been able to speak with Health and Human Service Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. about this or his department regarding your efforts?
I look forward to that conversation and definitely welcome the conversation with the secretary.
You mentioned public education efforts. I think those have uh, decreased in recent years. What would you like to see on the public education front when it comes to tobacco use and harm reduction?
I believe we need to continue to share and convey the impact that obviously smoke-based products are having. I think of my grandmother, for instance. My grandmother, growing up in Eastern North Carolina, again, this was just a way of our life. Smoked for decades, probably close to 70 years of her life. But she got to a point in time through education, she understood that she had to cut back, and I believe that she would tell you that that was some of the best information, best advice she had received. And at that point in life, she was able to eventually take the steps to go on a pathway in which she eventually was able to transition from smoking. And I really believe it extended her life. God rest her soul now, but I'm sure there's no replacement to those years that she had, because she had information that allowed her to now begin to transition and to make those steps necessary. So again, it's just information. Information is powerful. Information is key, and we have to do everything we can to get it out there. And when we do so, I believe that the facts are going to stand for themselves, that as we move from a smoke-based to smokeless products, that is indeed a pathway, a viable pathway that we can't write off, that's going to reduce in terms of the harm that's caused from tobacco across this country. And it's a meaningful step that we need to take, a gigantic step that we need to take for the American people.
Right. Thank you, Congressman.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you. And thanks for all those in attendance today.
That brings us to the end of our program. Thanks to all of our wonderful speakers this morning. On behalf of The Hill and our sponsor, PMI US, we'd like to thank everyone who joined us here today in person and those of you who tuned in online. Thank you very much and have a great rest of your day.